I work in the telecommunications industry, and I'm currently working on the government-backed broadband rollout. I check optical fibre, wireless and cellular installations from North Cape to Bluff and everywhere in between. I always really enjoy the wireless inspections due to the remote locations that they cover. Broadband is transmitted into the remote rural areas by wireless internet service providers, commonly known as WISPs. Today I'm heading into the heart of the King Country to check 6 sites in an area between Te Kuiti and National Park to carry out speed tests and make sure that the customer sites meet the minimum speed delivery of 25 megabits per second download and 5 megabits per second upload. My starting point is in Te Kuiti, where we did some network testing before hitting the road west and then south into the headwaters of the Mokau River, west of Aria. We had pre-arranged with our landowner for site access across their farm before tackling the farm tracks and commencing our climb up the hillside. We drove up the dew-covered grass tracks as far as we could without pasture damage, then started my first cardio workout for the day. The site was swarming with small flying midges that invaded our eyes and ears as we tried to gain our breath by only breathing through our noses, not daring to open our mouths for fear of choking on the black mass that covered our faces and crawled down our necks. Rush hour on the Opotiki Road, and a good time to catch up with what is happening in the district. The WISP operators are held in very high regard by the rural sector, with over 50% of federated farmer members depending on a WISP for their broadband connection. Following this test site, I was passed on to Lachlan for the next. It was not that clear on where I was supposed to meet him. These guys rattle off place names and road names like I'm supposed to know where the hell they're talking about. I do what I can, but mostly I've no idea where I'm heading. Thank goodness for GPS tracking systems. Here's a couple of examples of why I drive an older 4-wheel drive with good steel barb protection all round. On these roads you just never know when you may have to take to the scrub at a great rate of knots. I eventually arrived at a location that to me appeared to be the most likely meeting point, just below the next high site. I must have passed through a tiny pocket of cell phone coverage, and Lachlan had texted me a GPS location, which was just around the next bend. Lachlan suggested that we're better off to hit all the high sites today, and leave the site test until tomorrow. So from here we headed along Mokau Road to State Highway 4, and then west past Ongaru, near the Central North Island Timber Trail. From Wangaroo it was back to State Highway 4 and then south towards Taumanui. Then we headed west up Opotiki Road heading to Mount Pleasant. The Mount Pleasant site turned out to be an Airbnb called the Stables Farmstay. And a word? Wow! What a magnificent site! And not surprisingly with really good Wi-Fi. I must say it's a really interesting driveway. From Mount Pleasant we headed south through Taumanui to our last high site of the day, just north of the famous railway spiral at Raurimu. This amazing photograph was just too good not to share, and ended up in an article I wrote for the New Zealand 4-Wheel Drive magazine in June 2022. Off to find a bed for the night. This is the 4th time I'd stayed at the Park Hotel at National Park, and I'm told the food is really good, but I don't know. I must be staying at the wrong time of the year or something, as the frozen pizza or pea and potato curry wasn't quite what I was looking forward to. The Park Hotel redeemed itself this morning with a superb cooked breakfast. Off to meet Lachlan at the Raurimu turnoff just below the RCG tower. Here we checked off the customer sites we'll travel to today. If the customer's connected to the network already, we can interrogate their router remotely to conduct speed tests, and so saving us a physical visit to the location. So we spent a pleasant hour or so on the side of the road in the low misty area, waiting for the sun to hurry up and burn a hole through the low cloud cover. Man, it was cold for April. We headed back north from our Rimu and turned off east just before Taumanui and headed into the Mokau River at the southern end of Poriora Forest, just below our high site 6. This high site can only be accessed by helicopter or a 3-hour slog through the bush, so due to time constraints, I decided not to push for a site visit today. From Tangi Namutu, we hit the back roads north up towards Onaru for a couple more customer site tests. From Ongaru we backtracked on our path from yesterday to Materi on the Ohura Road for a test back to Mount Pleasant, our high site number 4. From Materi we headed north just over the ridge, past the place where we met Lachlan about the same time yesterday, and onto our final customer test point. And that's about it. 6 high sites signed off. Often when we stop to conduct our testing, no matter where we are in the country, you hear the farm dogs start barking and the quad bikes start up, with the inevitable appearance of a curious farmer. I really enjoy getting out there into the most remote parts of the country to meet the hard-working rural sector, whose lives have been improved by the developments in wireless technology, and feel privileged to play my small part in rolling these networks out across New Zealand.